the elements, this tournament has been just as unusual. The favorites have fallen, their defeat painful reality, their wounded pride obvious. And for the winners, the euphoria and unbridled emotion of toppling one of the big boys. And amidst the upheaval, #1 remains. Georgia Tech hopes to continue its roll through March, but will they weather this storm? This is the Charlotte Coliseum in Charlotte, North Carolina, the site for today's championship game in the 40th annual ACC tournament. Georgia Tech versus North Carolina. We're at the Charlotte Coliseum, more than 23,000 fans to watch Georgia Tech face North Carolina for the ACC championship. Let's look at the Reebok lineups. For Georgia Tech, Drew Barry has already broken the tournament's 2-game assist record. He has a shot at Bobby Hurley's overall assist record. Bobby Crimmins, 2-1 in the ACC championship game, his last title in 1990. George Lynch has been the Tar Heels' most consistent player all year long. In the tournament, he has 26 points and 26 rebounds through 2 games. And Dean Smith in championship games, 11-6. His last came in 1991. In the 2 regular season games, Carolina forced 18 Tech turnovers in each game. Bobby Crimmins told us he knows they have to avoid the turnovers today against Carolina.
Our ball handling is very suspect, and we got to handle the ball correctly. When they trap us, we got to find the open people and not have turnovers and try and get some good shots off. If we can do that, we can play with them.
Travis Best is the guy that's going to be responsible for getting Georgia Tech into some good offensive possessions. But the thing about playing against Carolina is this. You know they're going to trap you. You don't know where. You've got to make basketball plays. You can't expect to run your offense. You've got to be strong with the ball, catch it, find the open guy, and make some shots early. Travis Best told me he has his legs back after that duel and war with Hurley on Friday. Really was somewhat flat yesterday. He's ready to get it going today.
Rodel will apply a lot of the pressure in that trapping defense for North Carolina. The officiating crew, Lenny Wirtz, Dick Paparo, and Frank Scagliotta. There's the head-to-head matchup this year. Carolina won them both. The story was turnovers. The only time Georgia Tech has played North Carolina in the ACC title game, they beat them.
Well, Georgia Tech starts in the zone defense that's been so successful for them in this tournament.
Montross, the baseline jumper over Mackey. Best, who has averaged 6 assists a game, has also averaged 5.5 turnovers a game in this tournament. Barry has been sensational with assists and has protected the ball extremely well. Barry for 3. He has shot very rarely in this tournament. Got his own rebound. Martise Moore. A 17-foot jump shot that went 19.
And to the left of the goal.
These guys have to be a little nervous at the start. Williams for 3. Montross. Reese slashing to the basket the way he likes to. Lynch with a foul.
In addition to not turning it over, Georgia Tech must rebound the ball, and they need a huge game from Travis Best.
See if they can get Forrest lit up early. Over Montross.
Yes, sir, big fella. 25 of 33 now.
Isn't that remarkable? Shooting 75% in the ACC tournament, and a lot of them have been tough like that. A lot of them have been longer than that.
Yeah, you're right. The point you make about his field goals, he's made 25. Only 5 or 6 have been in the paint area.
Martise Moore with a double clutch, puts it up, won't go, but a foul.
Here you take a look at Reese inside. He's played extremely well of late, but take a look at George Lynch, right bottom of your screen, sliding inside and putting one back up and in. He's done a fabulous job throughout his career, eating glass, especially at the offensive end of the floor.
The 3rd best rebounder in the history of North Carolina basketball. That encompasses a lot of great players. Sam Perkins and Blake Cunningham, the only 2 in front of him. Martise Moore hits the free throw. The foul was on Rodel, his first. Free throws will be critical in this game because coming in, Georgia Tech had done very well from the line, but in the tournament, hitting only 59%.
And you talk about volume of free throws. The free throw game always critical, especially when you play Carolina. They've shot a number more free throws than the opposition, and maybe we'll get a chance to look at that later, but that's going to be critical for Georgia Tech to defend, rebound without foul.
Williams for three. Long rebound to Best. Pushes it ahead to Berry. Good decision by Berry to wait for help.
Forrest is loose if they skip it. Well, Forrest is wide open if they skip it.
He couldn't control the pass. Berry, three. Berry had only scored 11 points in the first two ball games, but he knows if he's open, he needs to take the shot, and he can hit it. Georgia Tech with its first lead at 7-4. And Tech has scored the last 7 points. Lynch. And Georgia Tech doing a good job on the boards, except for that one possession. Ahead to Forrest. Changed hands and couldn't get it to fall. Lynch was back to make him alter the shot.
Well, excellent hustle by Lynch and nice improvisation by Forrest. Everything but the period on that sentence.
With Carolina's passing game, a single point guard is not as important as it might be for some other clubs. Williams with the jumper.
That will be critical today, though.
Yeah.
His perimeter shooting, because Georgia Tech is going to stay in that zone and try to keep it from going inside to Montross. And there you look at Derek Phelps. What do they lose when they lose Phelps? You talk about his pressure on the basketball. In 2 games against Georgia Tech, he played outstanding at both ends of the floor.
Mackey with the foul as Montross scores, and you shouldn't be able to do that on the inbounds pass. North Carolina in this tournament blew out Maryland in the first game as Lynch had a big game, even though he didn't play that many minutes. And then yesterday, they won for the 3rd time this year against Virginia, 74-56. Williams had the big point production. Montross with a 3-point play the hard way. We're tied at 7. Best asking for some help, somebody to come outside, and Berry does. Georgia Tech looks very confident right now.
As well they should be. I mean, they've played Carolina pretty good, except for the turnovers in the 2 prior meetings.
Forrest, the rebound to Rowland. Sullivan for 3.
Well, he had a huge game yesterday, Mike. 4 of 6, scored 10 points in limited playing time, and off to a good start here this afternoon.
Good passer, good on the sideline. We've got a timeout. Back in a moment.
This ESPN Classic program is brought to you by eHarmony. Are you
leading Georgia Tech by 3 with 15:55. Here's how the Yellow Jackets got here. They knocked off Duke as James Forrest hit 11 of 15 or 13 of 15 shots from the floor, and Clemson 69-61. Scott time for Dean Smith. Cherry is one of those guys who hung around for a long time, finally getting some playing time, has played very well off the bench, and Sullivan comes out hot, hits another bucket. It's 12-7. Carolina, and Hill with a power move down the lane. Brian Hill with his first bucket.
That's one way to beat pressure, with the dribble or pass penetration.
Lynch didn't even look at a 15-footer. Cherry to Sullivan. Montross right now. Hill is on him in that part of the screen. Forrest doubles down with the bucket. Ano's book, who used to put the guard on the big man in front of him. Amazing how it can work, too. 14-9, Carolina. Here's Forrest. Georgia Tech has protected the ball rather well so far. But Carolina now.
Best would try to shake free from Cherry off the dribble. He's really got to be aggressive for Georgia Tech.
Best drains the jumper as he got around the screen. 14-11. Sensational game so far. Cherry in the lane, back to Sullivan for 3. Montross. He's fouled. Won't get the bucket.
Movement without the basketball is so important. Take a look at Cherry. He's ball gawking. He's ball gawking, and therefore he loses sight of Best. And in his recovery was off balance. Best just one dribbled him to the elbow and knocked down the J.
Foul was on Hill, and this is what North Carolina has done in the tournament so far. 87%. They've just been sensational.
And more importantly than that, obviously the free throw percentage is excellent, but the volume of free throws, I mean, that's 31 foul shots a game, and you compare that to what they've allowed the opposition to shoot. They've shot 37 more free throws than the opponent. I mean, that's huge. The free throw game is always one of the games within the game. If you rebound, defend, and make free throws, you'll win 70% of your games.
Back in a moment.
I'm thinking of a number between 450 and 8.
Timing.
Best good job to get around the press, but then throws it away, and Carolina returns the favor. Another thing about turnovers, sometimes they don't hurt you, like in that situation.
Exactly. You certainly don't want to have a steady diet of having 4 or 5 more turnovers than the opposition, though, because eventually it will come up and bite you.
And Carolina is not going to throw it away that often. Both teams have 2 so far.
I liked your line about you knew this would be such a good game that you strapped up your ankle. I like that.
Just a broadcast. I have a feeling about this. Best. Williams on him now.
A nice screen by Forrest. He should shake free for the J here.
Forrest with the jumper. What a great touch he has.
Created some space with that big body.
Forrest has 4. It's back to a 3-point North Carolina lead. Not a lot of outside firepower except for Williams in there right now, and Sullivan scores on the lob. Nice diagonal pass.
That's always available against the zone, especially when you swing the ball from side to side as you shift that zone defense.
Forrest, nice dish up, and Martise Moore in and out. Forrest for the rebound. Over Salvadori. Mackey got a tip. Here comes Reese. Carolina had a chance to increase the lead to 7 right there.
Reese going to board this miss by Mackey. Get it out ahead to Williams. And Donald Williams took 1 extra hop on his route to the basket.
Ivano Newbill is into the ball game, replacing Forrest for Bobby Cremens. Coach calls out number 1, and Hill, who is running the offense right now. Nice dish from Mackey, and he missed the jam. Reese 1 on 3. Boy, those are big buckets. They will come back to haunt you.
That ball just squirted out of Mackey's hand. He actually should have tried to flush it with 2 hands.
Salvadori with a left hand running hook. 7. Excuse me, it's Salvadori. It's his first 2.
Well, that's a 4-point turnaround there,
Sure
as
is.
Georgia Tech misses one from point-blank range, and then Salvadori comes down to the other end and finishes off. You're going to the left hand here. Nice extension. Mackey challenged nicely, but just not quite enough. And the window used nicely that time by Kevin Salvador.
Foul was on Williams, his first.
Georgia Tech getting rather small here. One with the 3-guard set. Hill. Actually, no, Martise Moore is still on the floor.
And Barry comes back in along with Forrest. There's the field goal percentage so far. During the 2 regular season games, both of these teams shot well, and Newbill will draw the foul underneath. Carolina is one of the few teams in the country that can afford to give fouls like that because they go so deep.
Yeah, and because of that depth, even though they don't have Phelps, who's such an important call for their squad, you would expect them to be maybe a little fresher as this game goes on. Nice find by Barry. Then the excellent balance and ball fake by Newbill. Came to a nice solid jump stop, lifted the defenders, and now he's making them pay for putting him on the line.
And Lynch got his money's worth. Newbill only played 2 years of high school basketball. Was an awful free throw shooter his first 2 years in the 40s. That first stroke looked pretty good. So did the second.
Nothing wrong with either one of those.
20-15. Barry nearly got the steal from Lynch.
Oh, nice cutoff on the baseline by Newbill that time.
Barry makes things happen, doesn't he?
Very active.
And he understands the game very well. The drive at the baseline. Hill got his own rebound, goes up among the trees and draws the foul from Salvador. You can't believe it. Barry made a lot of things happen on that play alone.
Good cutoff here on the baseline by Newbill in the cross court, and Barry just anticipates it, steps in. And then at the other end of this, he's going to get it back from Newbill now. Always has his head up and his eyes open, scanning the floor, and finds Hill with a nice bounce pass. And Hill strong to the rack, doesn't get it there, but was fouled on the second try. But Barry is the kind of player that can make a tremendous impact on the game and not score a point. He only took one shot yesterday, had 13 dimes, had his hands on balls.
Yeah.
And guys love to play with somebody that finds them when they get open, and Barry does it.
Georgia Tech cuts the lead to 3 with 11:45 to go first half. Back in a moment.
Tonight on ESPN Classic.
North Carolina. Drew Barry's been getting a lot more playing time. Here's Bobby Crimmins.
We inserted Drew into the starting lineup around mid-season. We did that because of the ball handling problems we were having with Forrest still learning the perimeter game and Martise Moore. And we really, there was too much pressure on Travis Best, and we wanted to take some of that pressure off. And Drew, he has the Barry genes. He knows the game of basketball.
Does he ever? The last of the brothers, and I think the best one of them. They tried the lob underneath. Montross got the loose ball and put it in.
And he certainly got the potential to be, although John Barry is a pretty good player in his own right.
Yep, and I've gone all year without calling Drew John. I'm very proud of myself. I'm sure that'll jinx me. Barry throws it away. And Rodel fouled by Forrest as he stopped the breakaway, but that will be the first personal on Forrest and the third team foul against Georgia Tech. It's only the third turnover against Georgia Tech.
Well, that will be key. You talked about them averaging 18 turnovers in their first 2 meetings, the regular season meetings.
And there it is, 18 a game. And Carolina, with that pressure and the guys that they have, can feast off of those turnovers.
I think Georgia Tech has to keep it in the 12 to 13 area.
Williams trying to hit the 3. I agree with you. Lynch with the follow, won't go. Moore with a rebound. Williams is 0 for 4 so far.
He's gotten pretty good looks at it, too.
Very nice pass. Dish off to Forrest.
You mark those up all day, Mike. Just go back and play D. If he gets his feet squared from 15, 17 and in, just go back.
Such a beautiful rotation on that shot. Reese tried to dump it to Montross, stolen by Mackey. Here comes Barry. Forrest, Williams back. Nice.
Don't do that, big fella. Don't do that, big fella. Don't show him the J and then slice between them in transition. Don't show him everything we got. We got 30 minutes to go yet, big fella.
What body control. 6'8", 260, and he glides. A 1-point game. Montross backing in. Tipped by Lynch. It was on the rim. Lynch just a little too anxious. But it shows you what kind of a rebounder he is. He was a guy who was there.
He is a phenomenal rebounder, has such a nose for the ball, excellent timing, and then he's got great strength, which allows him to take contact and still get his hands on the basketball.
6 North Carolina turnovers and a chance for Georgia Tech to take the lead. Barry, another nice dish to Moore. Barry goes after the rebound, but there's Lynch. Nice outlet. Williams. Just roll over the rim for him. Here comes Barry, 2-on-2. Another good decision to pull up and wait for help. Travis Best. Montross. 4 rebounds for the 7-footer. Nice passing. Reese missed the jam.
The ball is slipping out of the dunker's hands. We've seen that happen with Reese and Mackey, and part of that is due to them not being able to effectively palm the ball with one hand.
Forrest, good night. You're right. From 15 feet, if you're not right in his face, just mark it in the book. And Georgia Tech takes the lead.
The big fella, James Forrest, he is cut like a diamond, and right here, slicing like a knife to the rack. Mark it up. I've said it 3 times, and I know it's a little redundant, but how did this guy not make one ACC team?
It's a little scary, although there are some pretty good forwards in this league.
That's true.
Carolina fighting hard on the boards to keep it alive. Tech is on a 10-2 run. Henrik Roden, Best comes out on him. This is Sullivan, he walked. And right now, the team that you would expect to be out of sync, Georgia Tech, is not. North Carolina is.
And you talk about Phelps being absent, and this is where you miss him. He's a stabilizer. He's a guy that not only runs your club, but he can give you plays when you need him. Penetration, get the ball to the right guy, not turn it over.
Georgia Tech looks exceedingly confident in its game right now. Hill and Best in the backcourt. Forrest and Mackey went inside. Forrest threw the pass a little wide. 8 minutes, 14 seconds to go first half. Been a great game so far.
Really has been. Good intensity, and you expected both teams to be up, even though yesterday was a tough day for everybody, but you knew championship time now. Everybody's got their legs back under them and their emotion.
Good job by Newbill to knock it away, but Montross got it back. Now there's the steal by Best. Hill. The tip goes. Who got it? Forrest.
Yeah, I think James Forrest got that left paw up there.
But Hill went down hard. Brian Hill gets up oh so slowly.
Nice pass here by Best. He had a little hitch in the pass and looked off the defender. And then Hill with a tough attempt here. Doesn't go, but there's James Forrest cleaning up the mess.
Forrest has made his last 4 as 12 points.
Can you really?
Georgia Tech by 3. James Forrest has led them throughout the weekend. We asked him what he thought he had to do coming into this tournament.
You know, I came into the tournament thinking, well, James, you know, it's time you have to step up to the plate in order for Georgia Tech to compete for the ACC championship or to even make it to the NCAA tournament. You have to step your game up because, you know, a lot of my teammates look up to me as that way. And you know, it's something that I had to do, and it's something that I set my mind that I was going to do. And, you know, the good things have just been happening.
Well, you look at his numbers, and he's already scored 53 in the prior 2 games. And he had a conversation with Kevin Cantwell, the assistant coach for Georgia Tech, not too long ago, sitting to the right of Crimmins, actually, to the left of Crimmins from that view. And I think that inspired him, too, to step up his game. Kevin Cantwell intimated to James Forrest that he was the guy who had the game and the personality to step up, and it was time that he do so in preparing himself not only for the rest of this season, but for next season as well, when he'll be the designated leader.
And wanted him to be more of a leader. Salvadori with the jump hook, in and out. Barry with another loose ball. Boy, he makes this club work, you know? Barry really seems to have the sense about him. He makes Travis Best better, I think.
Yeah, he's a nice ingredient. Take some of that heat off of Best in terms of having to handle the ball.
Oh, what a dish to Forrest, and what a jam! Holy cow! Oh, he's got the last 10 for Georgia Tech.
Boy, it looks like he's holding his groin area.
He wants to come out, too.
Penetration, dime. By the big fella.
He ran into Salvadori and has come off the court, and they are treating him on the sideline.
I think he took a shot to the groin area. Or maybe he had the wind knocked out of him.
The way they're working on him, it looks like it. 14-2 run for Georgia Tech. They lead at 27-22. They are playing right now the way they played against Duke earlier this season when Duke was #1. Newbill with a follow. Are they doing everything right or what?
Yeah, they've got it going, Mike. Penetration, board, all initiated by the play of James Forrest.
Got a foul as Reese went up from the baseline.
Yeah, he looks fine now. Yeah, big fella, you can't go out because I'm loving this. Not to say how much your teammates and Bobby Crimmins are, but so far, what a show.
He has been awesome. Montross is back in. Salvadori goes out. Reese will go to the free throw line. The last foul was on Ivano Newbill, his first. Reese, a 61% free throw shooter on the year, but like his Carolina teammates, he's been nearly perfect in the tournament.
You see James Forrest taking a quick blow after taking a shot to the groin area, it appeared, and probably will be back momentarily.
In the tournament, he has hit 31 of 42 shots. I mean, that's just unbelievable. Not doing bad against the #1 team in the country either. A team that holds you to 41% shooting.
But again, part of that is due to the pressure that Derek Phelps is able to put on the ball, and that just really upticks everybody else's defensive effort.
Best for 3. Newbill offensive rebound. Best will have another crack. Here comes Lynch. 2 on 3. Contact. Offensive foul, Lynch.
Oh, that was a strong, sweet move after the defensive board.
Travis Best draws the charge.
Living room angle.
Close call.
Very close. Very, very close.
Could have gone either way. Of course, you know, Dean up talking to the officials as they come by. Knows which way he thought it'd be. And 10 turnovers for Carolina.
I think you've got to try to get it inside to Montross or let Lynch get to work.
And he got to work. 29-26, a 3-point lead.
Yeah, I would expect George Lynch, certainly at the offensive end, to become a little more assertive, being a senior, having the kind of game that can get busy inside.
This might scare Bobby Crimmins a little bit if he looks up at the scoreboard and realizes he's only up by 3 as well as they've played. Martise Moore. Talk about another kid who's going to be a star.
Yeah, he certainly has it written all over him. Nice stroke, good handle, good size, and he's only a freshman. North Carolina, though, very impressive in that they don't seem to get fluttered at all anytime the opposing team makes any type of run.
Lynch travels. That's about the 4th travel against Carolina in this game. Their 11th turnover in the first half. That exceeds the game totals for the games they played earlier this year against Georgia Tech. Look at Forrest. His numbers through 2 games, shooting 75% from the floor, averaging 26.5 points a game, and he's on a pace to beat that today.
Well, I felt going in they had really no one to match up with him. If you take George Lynch out and put him on him, you take Lynch away from the defensive board.
I believe they've got Mackey for an offensive foul inside, pushing off. That would be 2 on Malcolm Mackey. Keep in mind, Georgia Tech has virtually no depth.
Brian Hill and Ivano Newbill, the only 2 guys that really play off the bench.
So Mackey has to sit down with 2 personals, 4:14 to go. First half of play, a 6-point Georgia Tech lead. Reese loses it on the way up, and Travis Best will get a reach-in foul. That's his first. We've got our tournament selection special coming up at 6:30 this afternoon. John Saunders and Dick Vitale will take a look at the field of 64, and we'll have live coaches' comments from all around the country. And this is going to be an exceedingly interesting process to select the field of 64 this year.
How about Missouri winning the Big 8 championship when they had lost something like 7 of their last 8 conference games going into the tournament.
Reese misses the free throw. Phelps on the sideline with a badly bruised tailbone from the injury yesterday.
Boy, what a nice sight to see him in street clothes and actually walk in here after we sat here and watched him taken off on a stretcher yesterday.
When they brought out the backboard, it was a frightening sight. We've seen too much of that in sports in the last couple of years. Forrest in the lane. For once, it doesn't fall, and Montross with a rebound. Forrest hitting 7 of 11 shots so far. Reese slashes in. Newbill with a rebound.
Boy, Newbill's done a nice job on the board and inside. He doesn't get a lot of points because he gets very few looks, but he's giving his team what they expect from him: rebounds and presence inside.
Georgia Tech 32, North Carolina 27. Back in a moment.
Are you ready?
Charlotte, North Carolina, the site for the ACC championship game, the 40th annual tournament, and Georgia Tech has played exceptionally well here in the first half. They lead #1 North Carolina 35-29.
North Carolina showing a 1-3-1 zone here.
Best for 3. Doesn't have the range yet today.
Yeah, he's been short on just about every shot he's taken.
It's only hit 1 of 6. Donald Williams with a runner for 3. He can light it up too.
He's been playing exceptionally well of late. Has such a sweet stroke and loves to pull up off the dribble.
This kind of game is why they can sell 23,000 tickets and assist Clark Kellogg.
Yeah, I got to handle it a little bit. That orange felt good. I almost jumped out of my seat and got out here in the mix.
I was going to say, we're only about 40 feet from the basket. This isn't out of your range, is it?
Yeah, no, not quite. But although I like that paint area.
Berry fakes the 3. Here comes the trap. Carolina's not been very effective in it yet today. And again, Best can't hit the jump shot. Montross with a rebound. The lead is 3. The big guy has 8. Calabria in the ballgame for the first time.
Reese can shoot that.
Reese just missed that one.
Well, nice block out by Mackey on the glass.
Mackey ahead to Best, has Berry in front of him. Boy, nice cutoff by Donald Williams. Mackey 15-footer. Even when these guys have missed today, they've looked good doing it.
Yeah, they really have. With the exception of Best, I'd be a little concerned if I was Bobby Crimmins because his shots are short, which might point to a little fatigue, although he told me he thought his legs were under him and he was ready.
Drew Berry has set a tournament assist record for the ACC. He has 27 assists in the 3 games, and there goes Reese baseline for the basket and the foul.
Well, thinking back to about 6 minutes ago when you talked about, Mike, how Georgia Tech was playing so well and Carolina still maintaining contact, that really is something that Carolina will hang their hats on if they go into the locker room trailing. I mean, it's only a 2-point game. They could very well end up going into the locker room leading, and you'd wonder how that would affect Georgia Tech. I mean, they've given a heck of a punch here and haven't really been able to stagger the Tar Heels at all.
You would think if North Carolina does get the lead, Georgia Tech would go in and say, wait a minute, we just played our best game. This is as good as we can play, and we're not ahead. Best just slashes down the middle. If you can't hit him outside, go end to end. The young man has some speed. Scott Cherry is into Dean Smith's lineup. A 4-point lead. A couple of heavyweights slugging it out today. Lynch, double pump, Montross is foul.
Travis Best showing you his speed. Now look at how high he has to shoot this over Montross. Great extension. Tremendous individual move by T. Best, who has struggled from outside. That time took it to the rack on the big fella.
Foul on Brian Hill was his second, so Mackey has 2, Forrest has 2, Hill with 2, Newbill with 2. And Montross will try to cut into that 4-point lead. What a nice touch for a guy who's 7 feet 270.
You think these guys are wired up? You know, I talked about how if he could become a 75% free throw shooter, what it would mean to his point average and to his team's production. He's made like his last 14 free throws.
Yeah, how about 100% free throw shooter? That'll help you.
Yeah, but I just think it's so important for big guys, for anybody to shoot free throws well, but especially guys that have a game in the low post where they're going to be double teamed and they're going to be able to draw fouls.
I think it's a crime what's going on around the country with guys shooting 50-60%. That's a joke.
It really is, especially when you have the time. It's just a matter of concentration and practice.
The lead is 2. Best ahead to Hill. Berry. Nice move down the lane. Drew Berry just exploded through the Carolina defense. The lead is 4.
I really think it's important that Georgia Tech step into the locker room with the halftime lead, Mike, and they have a great chance to do that now, up by 4. The best Carolina could do, unless you had the foolish foul on the three-pointer, is maybe to go in down 1.
Williams with an NBA 3.
He got a shot at this.
Hill, good if it goes. Georgia Tech behind 14 points from James Forrest has the halftime lead in the ACC championship, 41-37 over North Carolina. Kellogg and Clark, you said it at the beginning. James Forrest not selected to any of the 3 ACC teams, and he has just been a man possessed during this tournament.
Boy, he really has been playing inspired and focused basketball. Bobby Crimmins told him he needed to put it on the floor a little more. Well, he puts it on the floor there and pulls up for the nice J. And then here, coming right at you on the nice penetration and find by Drew Berry. FedEx! James Forrest on the flush.
And it's unusual when he misses. In 3 games, he is shooting 31 out of 43. A little off today, only 7 out of 11. And only one of those was a dunk. I mean, he has just had a tremendous performance here in Charlotte, North Carolina. The halftime stats, Georgia Tech shooting over 40%. Look at the free throws. They've only had 6, but they've made them all. Carolina, as you've come to expect, has hit 11 out of 12. And the turnovers, I think, the key to the ball game. Georgia Tech has only made 6. North Carolina 12. Georgia Tech averaged 18 turnovers in 2 games against North Carolina during the regular season. Best to Forrest, and he's fouled. Lynch thought he had the block. And Forrest comes up limping. That's 3 on Lynch. North Carolina led 20-13 with 12 minutes to go in the first half. Georgia Tech has scored 16 of the last 18 points.
This guy at the line had his hand in on a number of those.
Didn't he?
I think at one point he had scored 8 or 10 straight for Georgia Tech.
He has just been sensational, as has Drew Berry, who has set the ACC tournament record for assists, taking it away from Bobby Hurley. Not a bad point guard either. 43-37.
Drew Berry just has such excellent presence and savvy about himself, and he's always looking to find the open guy.
Williams with a miss. Lynch with a terrific offensive rebound.
Such great timing and going after the ball. Everybody talks jumping ability and size, but it's all about timing and hunger and desire for the orange.
Montross, double team, left hand jump hook.
Sweet. Impossible to stop with that body and extension. He does that equally well with both hands, and he's not missed yet, has he?
No, he hasn't. 4 for 4. 43-39. This has just been a terrific game.
5-star.
Here's Rodel going for the steal. Doesn't get it. Nice job by Martise Moore. Very cool. Shot clock does not reset. It's at 14.
Penetration off the dribble here. Best has to create something on his own.
Shot clock is at 6. I'm not sure anybody realizes it. Best does. And at least got off the shot. Mackey keeps it alive, but Montross got it. Mackey stole it and then went out of bounds.
I think you're exactly right, Mike. Nobody really knew what the shot clock was doing. And if you're in that situation and you've got a guy like Best who can create off the dribble, I think that's the way you have to go, especially when you're fighting the shot clock.
Unless it's a change of possession, the shot clock doesn't recycle, and North Carolina never had possession. Best has hit only 2 out of 9 shots from the floor today. He struggled from the outside. Lynch and Martise Moore clears it. Best ahead to Forrest. Rodel with a block. Huge play by Henrik Rodel. Reese back the other way. He's fouled and the basket counts. Martise Moore picks up his first personal.
Here's Brian Reese. Watch this little hesitation dribble. The official's pants leg cut us off, but Brian Reese made a nice little hesitation crossover dribble to get himself in the lane for the finish.
North Carolina as a team has hit 11 of 12 free throws.
That means they've missed 9
all weekend.
Yeah, right. And they've taken about 75 or 6 free throws.
1-point game. The Carolina fans come to their feet.
Neither one of the perimeter shooters shooting it well either way. Best struggling, as is Donald Williams.
Moore in the lane, forced that one up. Forrest tried to keep it alive, got cleared out.
He'll pull up on you in this situation.
Williams splashing inside this time. No bucket, but a foul. And Williams. Donald Williams called for the push inside. Our tournament selection special, 6:30 this afternoon Eastern Time. John Saunders and Dick Vitale will break down the field of 64 with in-depth analysis and talk to coaches from all over the country what they think about the selections.
There will be some interesting ones on that board.
There will be some heartbroken people out there again tonight. Mackey wants the ball against Montrose. Now Barry free for the jumper. Lynch with another rebound. He has 7 in this championship game. A 1-point Georgia Tech lead. Williams for 3. Follows his own shot. It was Reese, and Reese gets the layup. Reese knew he missed it, charged the boards, got the rebound. 44-43 Carolina.
There's a mismatch somewhere because Montrose was on Best.
Best tries to lay it off on the way down the lane, and there's a foul. It's the first Carolina lead since it was 20-19.
Chase down your own miss. You don't see guys do this enough. Reese knew it was short and beat everybody to the ball and then strong to the rack.
The last foul was on Henrik Rodel, his 3rd. And the 3rd team foul against North Carolina in the second half. Georgia Tech has committed only 1. Barry goes out, Hill goes in for Bobby Crimmins.
You know, when you make a mistake, whether it's a short shot or something else you're doing in life, you typically know before anybody else that it's a mistake. And it's much the same with the missed shot. You know before anybody where that thing's going to come off. And Reese did a nice job on that last possession chasing it down.
Montrose was out on Best, and Best didn't make him pay for it. Here's a bad pass picked off by Montrose.
The pressure on the ball forced that turnover.
Rodel wide open. Goes down the lane instead and lays it in.
Well, you might look for a timeout from Bobby Crimmins because that was uncontested down the lane.
Crimmins takes the timeout, and North Carolina on a 9-0 run.
Remember how we used to...
In the midst of a 9-zip run, they lead by 3. Take a look at Henrik Rodel. He's right there at the top of the key. Nobody's going to stop the basketball for Georgia Tech. He's got a good look at a 3. He said, well, nobody's going to stop me. They just escorted me to the rack. And he finishes, and Henrik Rodel, along with Donald Williams and Scott Cherry, filling in nicely by committee for Derek Phelps.
Another turnover. This is what North Carolina did to Georgia Tech during the regular season. Reese to Montrose. Forrest with a block, and here comes Barry. Offensive foul on Mackey. That's 3 on Malcolm Mackey, and Carolina got back in a hurry on defense. Georgia Tech has not hit a shot from the floor yet in the second half. They are 0 for 5. North Carolina 4 for 8. 15:51 to go in the game for the ACC championship. Carolina stepping up its defensive pressure. 3-guard offense for Georgia Tech.
Well, I don't think Best has been nearly aggressive enough trying to penetrate off the dribble.
Forrest blocked by Montross, and then he just took the ball out of the air. Lynch. Reese with an offensive rebound. Carolina on an 11-0 run. They lead by 5.
They've done it with defense. Toughness and tightness on the basketball. Nothing easy for Georgia Tech.
This will be the test for Tech if they can survive this. Barry misses the long-range jumper. Lynch with a rebound.
Well, obviously, Forrest hasn't had many touches this half. He needs to get it, but I think Travis Best is the guy that's got to try to create some offense for the Yellow Jackets.
Lynch with a miss. Here comes Barry. I think Forrest has touched it twice in the second half. Here's Best.
And when you got it going, you need to touch it more than that in the first 5 minutes.
Hill picked up his dribble. Forrest fall-away jumper. The first field goal for Georgia Tech in the second half comes at 14:22.
Yeah, Forrest had a little word for Dick Paparo. He said, "Ref, he fouled me too." Dick Paparo just laughed a little bit.
You might want to foul him every time because he doesn't miss. Because he hasn't missed any free throws either. Williams, nice head fake to get his man in the air, and then a baseline jumper. Williams has hit 2 for 9 from the floor.
But he's so effective off the one bounce. It seems when he can lift the guy with the ball fake and then one bounce into a shot, he's under such great control and typically makes most of those kinds of shots.
Lynch and Forrest battling each other. Great matchup. Forrest tries to take him. The foul. Lynch will pick up his 4th. With 13:33 to go in the game. And in Dean Smith's system, you can get away with missing a lot of guys, but George Lynch is not one of them.
Certainly, if you talked about 2 key guys, it would have to be Phelps and Lynch. When you talk about the things they bring to the table, and it doesn't always just show up in points or even numbers. Certainly George Lynch, because of his defensive ability, his great rebounding, has struggled the last 2 games in terms of shots. He's gotten decent looks, just hasn't been able to find the bottom of the net.
And he's the #1 all-time steals leader at North Carolina. You think of all the great guards and the quick players they've had. George Lynch has more steals than any of them.
And what helps him as a rebounder certainly helps him as a defender as well, and that's what's allowed him to become the all-time steals leader. Anticipation, quickness, strength.
Forrest has 20 for Georgia Tech. The lead cut to 3.
Montross a little out of his element at the top. You need to look at him inside. He's had a fabulous game in the paint area.
Fadeaway jumper, in and out. Salvadori, the other 7-footer, is in there with him. He kept it alive, but Best comes out with it. Travis Best, what a move! But he missed the shot, tipped in by Barry.
That's why his penetration is so critical, Mike, because it frees up offensive rebounding lanes. And I think the Yellow Jackets, if they can board, they can outrun this big team of Carolina right now. If they can cleanly rebound, they should be able to transition at the other end.
The lead is 1. Sullivan to Montross. Can't stop him now, but he missed. Forrest and Montross bumping each other. Dean Smith wanted a foul. And here is a technical on the Carolina bench. One of the players stood up, and Dick Paparo was standing right beside him. Dean Smith is coming over to ask him about it, and he may get one.
He's in a danger zone here. Obviously, everybody upset about the contact that occurred between Forrest and Montross on the rebound.
One of the players said something.
And just from what happened, I don't think the officials did anything wrong in not calling the foul. There was some contact. As you see, the technical has been called on the bench because of their reaction to the contact between Forrest and Montross.
And Travis Best will shoot the technical. We're tied at 50 as Best missed the second. Georgia Tech will get the ball.
Here you take a look. There's the board. Oh, he did lower the shot. Here you take a look from another angle. Take a look at Dick Paparo on the top of your screen. He called the technical on the bench.
Mackey on the sideline.
James Forrest certainly lowered his shoulder there, but you've made the comment a couple of other times that at 7 feet, 275, it would take a little more than a shoulder nudge to send Eric Montross sprawling.
Yeah.
So I think that was a good no call there.
I do too. He tried to draw one there. And what you didn't see, what you could not see on the replay is Williams slips, then got his balance back. Salvadori with a follow. Tar Heels by 2. Was one of the players went up and said something. That's what Paparo reacted to. Best again down the lane. He scores and he's fouled. Has this been sensational or what?
Outstanding. Get to the cup, shake and bake, on his way to the rack. No help. The help is there late. And Travis Best with the finish. And again, I expected this kind of stuff from Travis Best a lot more and a lot earlier. Obviously, he was conserving himself a little bit in that first half and has stepped on the gas pedal a bit here in the last 2 or 3 possessions, and they need that. With this bigger team on the floor for North Carolina, although Coach Smith has made some substitutions now and they've gone a little smaller. But
Cherry for Rodel.
And Brian Reese back in as well.
That last foul was on Sullivan. That's his first.
And Reese steps in for Eric Montross.
And Best will have a chance to give the Yellow Jackets the lead back. You know, with games like this, they could play this outdoors somewhere with heaters and sell 65,000 tickets. Best makes it a 3-point play, and Georgia Tech back on top. Scott Cherry, who has done a very good job when he's had a chance to play as a senior. The thing about Cherry, hasn't been hesitant at all, and that's what you would expect from a guy who's, you know, 8th or 9th on the depth chart. Williams for 3. Salvadori kept it alive, but Mackey gets the rebound to Best. Pulls up for 3. Mackey keeps it alive, and Berry has the ball. Drew Berry makes things happen when he's on the court for Georgia Tech. The lead is 3.
He makes winning plays. I mean, it may not show up in the box score, but I mean, he'll get a loose ball and convert it. You know what he's going to do if you get open. He's going to get it to you in scoring position. He deflects balls. He's talking to his teammates all the time.
He has 9 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds.
That's what you call stuffing the stat sheet. You know, filling up every column in that stat sheet line.
11 minutes, 12 seconds to go in the ACC championship game. Williams for 3. Great players making great plays. Newbill with Salvadorian. Dangerous pass. Moore as Reese went for the steal. Best for 3. Wide open. His best look at it all day, and he couldn't hit it.
I tell you what, every shot has been short, Mike.
Sure has.
I think it's got to be fatigue, even though he may not know it. I think it's got to be fatigue. He gets such great elevation on his shots that any slight hint of fatigue maybe takes him off just a notch in terms of his lift.
He has hit only 3 of 13. Best goes down. Cherry gets it to Sullivan. Nice dish to Reese. And he's fouled. Reese with a great fake got Martise Moore in the air. That will be his second personal. 57-55. North Carolina regains the lead. Reese will try to make it 3. Brian Hill will come in. Berry will go out for Georgia Tech. Reese 15 points today and 5 out of 6 from the line.
Well, he's been in double digits now, 9 straight counting today. There you see his season average, but he's averaged like 16 points a game in the last 9. So he stepped it up.
Once he got over that series of little nagging injuries he had, he's been a different player.
And his confidence has grown too. See, sometimes people overlook the mental part of the game. Confidence is critical.
North Carolina's hit 13 of 14 free throws. They lead by 3. The ACC championship game from Charlotte, North Carolina, and the #1 Tar Heels leading the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech by 3 points. George Lynch on the bench with 4 personal fouls. And Henrik Rodel is the man who has had to step in for the injured Derek Phelps. He has played point guard most of the afternoon. Phelps with a badly bruised tailbone. Said he did not get much sleep last night, was in a lot of pain. They do expect him to be available for the NCAA tournament beginning for North Carolina either next Thursday or Friday.
Here you see Travis Best has struggled shooting the ball from three-point land. You see that 50% figure there led the ACC and ranks him in the top 10 nationally in three-point shooting, but has been short on all 6 attempts here this afternoon.
He's done his damage slashing down the lane.
And even that hasn't been as much as I anticipated. Most of it has come in the last couple of minutes.
Got the ball to Forrest out of the timeout.
Went to the left hand too, Mike.
Forrest has 22. He's had just an incredible tournament. He's had at least 22 in all 3 games. Reese, nice fake, got it to Montross. He missed the layup. I think he expected somebody to be there to contest it.
Excellent point. Expected contact.
Georgia Tech can regain the lead. Mackey double teamed and lost it to Williams, and then Mackey commits the foul going after the loose ball.
Here you take a look at this. James Forrest, in my mind, has probably already locked up this ACC tournament MVP with his performance, unless something drastic happened. And he was not an all-conference pick. And there you see the last guy to win that award as
Vinny Del Negro.
Vinny Del Negro.
Barry comes in. Mackey has to go out with his 4th personal foul at the 9:31 mark. Barry comes in as Martise Moore sits down, and Newbill comes in to play in the middle. A 1-point lead for #1 North Carolina. Reese got away with a shoulder push in there. Montross kept it alive, but knocked it out of bounds.
Now, every possession for Georgia Tech, you've got to maximize it. It's premium possession time now. You can't have loose bobbles and softness with the ball. Travis has to control it, penetrate, find people, or score. And you've got to think about letting James Forrest touch it at least a little bit every time down.
Hill, he likes to pound it inside. Best wide open again. Offensive rebound by Forrest. He went down hard, but he made the bucket. James Forrest has 24. He's not all conference, he's all world. 59-58, Georgia Tech.
You'll get no disagreement from me. I think I've said it enough about him not being on one of the all-conference.
Williams with a runner. May have been partially blocked by Hill. Here comes Best. Williams, nice defensive job to cut him off.
And that's a good point. He's done a pretty good job keeping
Yes,
Best in front of him and banging him a little bit at both ends, and that could play a part in Travis shooting the ball short.
Wide open is Hill. 3. 7 points for Brian Hill, and the lead is back to 4 for Georgia Tech. Tell you what, if these guys would like to play triple overtime today, I know 23,000 people stay and watch.
This is outstanding, isn't it? We actually get a check for this, Mike.
Maybe.
That was you.
7:57 to go from Charlotte.
There's a place you want to go if you're the Tar Heels. He's had such a great game, and they really don't have an answer for him inside. No. He hooks it effectively well with both hands. He gets good position inside. And the nice thing about Montross is that he catches most balls in his neighborhood. Good passes and bad.
Excuse me, Clark Newbill picks up his 3rd. And Montross will go to the line. Montross with 15 points today. 7 out of 7 free throws, and he missed 1. George Lynch has had to watch as Georgia Tech has gone on a 17-8 run. Picked up his 4th personal foul. You wonder how long Dean can afford to leave him out. And Montross, after making 7 straight, they just put Lynch back in the game. Well, I answered my own question.
Yeah.
So Montross, after
awesome,
he made 7 straight,
awesome.
misses 2 in a row.
Well, it's a tough matchup for Scott Cherry, trying to deal with Travis Best out away from the hole. Well, see, I come right back to Best and let him try to get inside. Nice.
Forrest, little fadeaway jumper. Forrest has 26.
Little pseudo penetration by Best created the open lane for the shot.
He has hit 11 of 17 shots from the floor, and that's worse than what he did the first 2 games. He has just been marvelous. 64-58. Georgia Tech, 7 minutes to go in the game. 3-pointer by Reese. Montross, offensive rebound. Newbill got a piece of it. And Cherry ties up Newbill. Here comes Barry. 3-on-1 for Tech. What a steal by Rodel. Holy cow, what a defensive play to come back the other way. Cherry, offensive foul. What a defensive play by Newbill.
Boy, he has been a major factor with a lot of the little things. He comes up gimpy there.
What a sensational performance by both of these teams. 6:44 to go in the championship. Back in a moment.
Tonight on ESPN Classic.
Game, Georgia Tech has regained the lead 64-58 over North Carolina. The last time Dean Smith and his Tar Heels lost, February 3rd at Duke by 14 points. Since then, they have won 11 straight games. And of course, there were people who called this the Dean Smith Invitational at one point. He has won 11 of North Carolina's 12 ACC championships. They have been seeded #1 16 times, won half of them. And for North Carolina as a school, 21 finals in 40 years, and James Forrest is the guy who is trying to take this one away from them.
Lynch with those 4 fouls has to be careful as he tries to trap Barry.
And look at the pressure. They have really stepped up the intensity here.
Well, Georgia Tech needs to keep the ball centered. You don't want to aid their cause by taking it into the corners and along the sideline.
But they've still got to run their offense.
Well, this is a tough matchup. Reese has good quickness, but Best possibly could beat him off the dribble.
Shot clock at 8. Barry wide open. Forrest. Mackey.
How about the rebound? Forrest went over the top without touching the defender inside of him.
Tech has scored the last 11. Reese had it stripped on the way up. Lynch. Forrest fouled him, and Lynch got the bucket.
What a move. Double clutch and finish.
Man.
We've had enough good plays for about a week, Mike.
This is a whole year's highlight reel here.
Here you take a look at James Forrest. Over the top, cleanly, misses the shot, blocked by Montross, but Mackey there for the putback.
Foul was 3rd on Forrest. Montross with a tip of the missed free throw.
As long as you keep it alive, you have a chance to get a hoop. Sometimes guys give up on the ball when they can't get it for themselves, but keep it alive.
17 points, 12 rebounds from Montross. It is a 4-point ball game, 5:23 left.
Boy, Donald Williams really hawking Best, trying to keep it out of his hands. That's one of the best ways to play a penetrator. Try not to let him touch it.
On the switch, Montross is on Best right now.
See, he's got to get busy right now. He's got to take him. They've got to clear it out.
Got it to Barry. Nice fake back to Forrest from 15. Mackey. He's fouled by Montross, I believe. Mackey with 2 huge rebounds in the last 2 possessions.
Well,
and it is Montross. That's only his first.
Well, here you take a look at Montross guarding Best, which is a mismatch. And then Rodel comes over to double up, recognizing the disadvantage. Barry with the penetration, the smart feed. One of the few times Forrest doesn't get this shot to go. And Mackey with a nice job extending to get that rebound over George Lynch and then draw the foul on Montross.
I was going to say he did it against a fine rebound. Tech has hit 12 out of 13 free throws as a team. Mackey on the year, a 66% free throw shooter.
Well, Mackey, the #1 all-time rebounder in Georgia Tech history, so two big-time glass eaters going at it on that last possession.
Missed the front end of a 1-and-1. The lead is 4.
He's really struggled throughout the tournament from the stripe. Only 10 of 20 coming in.
Williams for 3. Montross was right there, but it kicked a little wide, picked up by Martise Moore. We're under 4:40 left.
Well, you just get the feeling that Travis Best has struggled with the 3 all day and is going to shake loose and bury one at the most appropriate time for his team.
Well, I know Bobby Cremins certainly hopes so. He's watched him shoot 0 for 7 from long range. Best goes all the way to the baseline, triple teamed and fouled by Sullivan, I believe. They have done an excellent job against the trapping defense today. Two on Sullivan. Lynch and Reese will come right back into the ball game. Here's the free throw story. Both teams have been terrific.
Not many attempts, but certainly the accuracy has been there. Again, that was one of the keys coming in for Georgia Tech, to play even on the glass, to not be dominated in the free throw game. In both of those areas, they've been solid.
Travis Best now with 9 points. The lead is back to 5, 67-62.
What a game Eric Montross has had. So efficient in the low post, rarely forces things.
Yeah.
Stays within himself. And
quality player.
At 7 feet 280, you can typically stay within yourself a little better and still dominate than the average Bear.
He's had a pretty decent day today, 17 points and 13 rebounds. Best will get a breather. Barry back in for Georgia Tech. The lead has grown to 6, and we have exactly 4 minutes to go in the ACC championship. Lynch. Barry had his hands on it, and Forrest just ripped it away. Moore, nice save.
Well, good substitution here by Bobby Cremins to give Travis Best a little bit of a blow.
Rodel with the steal, having a tough time coming up with it, did not travel.
So he tried to dribble that when he should have just picked it up. He cost himself about 3 seconds and maybe a layup because he tried to dribble it out of trouble instead of picking it up.
But Rodel has had 2 big steals. Reese leans in and got it. 68-64, 3:19 left to go in a great ball game. Here's the trap.
You got to keep your dribble alive until a receiver gets free.
Reese has 12 of his 18 points in this half. Martise Moore wide open, didn't want the shot. Bad pass by Moore. Here comes Lynch ahead to Rodel. And he's clobbered by Hill. Good play by Hill to save the layup.
2 big turnovers immediately on the heels of Travis Best leaving the game. How much longer? There you see Bobby Cremins. He's going to have to get Travis Best. I think he wanted to tread water for another minute or so before he brought Best back, but the turnovers the last 2 possessions have forced him to bring Travis in much sooner.
Rodel will go to the line. 64.5% free throw shooter on the season. 2 points, 6 assists, 3 steals for Henrik Rodel out of Neusenstamm, Germany. He's on the German national team.
And all that,
the first free throw.
All that international experience starts to show in tight games and some of those little numbers you just saw in terms of coming up with steals, assists. Just a very smart player.
North Carolina has missed its last 4 free throws. Make it 5. 2:57 to go in the game. Georgia Tech by 4. The Jackets have the ball.
Well, nice pick by Mackey.
Best fouled, did not get the bucket. That was a great screen, wasn't it? Foul was on Montross. His second roller will go out of the ball.
Bobby Crimmins giving Drew Berry a massage. Trying to loosen up the freshman. I think he's probably much looser than Bobby Crimmins
Probably is. Best has hit 4 out of 5 from the line. 10 points make it 11. And that means the lead grows to 5. One more foul from North Carolina and Georgia Tech would shoot 2 instead of the 1 and 1. Best hits them both. Bobby Crimmins trying to win his 3rd ACC championship in a great 12-year career at Georgia Tech.
She'll lure you into her trap.
70-64, Georgia Tech by 6. We'd like to welcome everyone who watched Texas Tech win the Southwest Conference Championship today. We have a great one here. Georgia Tech leading #1 North Carolina 70-64. They have slugged it out down to the 250 mark of this game, and James Forrest has had one of the most sensational tournaments in memory in the ACC. 26 points, 10 rebounds today. He came in on the 2 games averaging 26.5 points a game the first 2. He has been spectacular. Mike Patrick and Clark Kellogg with you from Charlotte, North Carolina. Dean Smith going for win number 877. And his 12th ACC championship. Williams tried to run him behind a screen from Cherry.
He struggled from the perimeter. The zone has been effective. He's got daylight there.
Has a 3 there. Barry may have gotten a finger on that one. Tipped out of bounds. To Georgia Tech. Boy, the entire Carolina bench was up trying to help, weren't they?
Yeah, they certainly were. They were in neutral.
Donald Williams has hit only 3 of 15 shots. He and Best have both struggled from the outside.
They really have, but Forrest has been able to make up for the struggling Best, whereas Carolina has only had Eric Montross and Brian Reese as consistent scorers for them.
Now the clock, a tremendous ally of Georgia Tech.
Well, you don't want to put it in neutral too soon. You still want to be aggressive. It's a 2-possession game, and you know Williams, though he struggled, is capable of knocking down the 3. You use some clock here, then I think you've got to try to clear it out. And I've said this a few times earlier, but Travis Best has the ability not only to penetrate, but to finish in traffic, and if nothing else, draw a foul.
He can take just about anybody out there. Looking inside, got it to Mackey, and it was partially blocked. Jump ball situation, possession arrow gives it to Carolina. Well, it was a nice feed from Best. .149 left to go in the game. Reese pulled up at the baseline. Montross with a follow. Eric Montross has 19 points. The lead is down to 4. Georgia Tech working on the clock. They try to go for the trap, and Barry comes around rolling.
Yeah, they're still probably 2 scores away from the W.
Georgia Tech has handled the trap beautifully. And here is a foul on Williams away from the pass. That foul on Williams will be his 3rd. Our selection special coming up at 6:30. We'll have reaction and commentary from Billy Tubbs, Mike Jarvis, and Tom Butters, the athletic director of Duke and the head of the tournament selection committee. And there's always reaction after that, and of course speculation about Bobby Crimmins. Well, if he is going to leave Georgia Tech, this would be the way to go out, wouldn't it? But he won't be done. This is a team you're going to have to deal with in the NCAA tournament. These young kids are really coming together at the right time.
They certainly are. You would be concerned about their depth in terms of how far they could go when you have to talk. But you never really have to play back-to-back games. You play every other day for a weekend or for 2 weekends. But they're one of the teams, I agree with you, Mike, they're one of 15, maybe 10 or 12 teams that could do some damage, I think, in the earlier rounds in the tournament.
And you saw Drew Berry broke Bobby Hurley's assist record for this tournament. Lynch for 3. Reese hustles it down and somehow saved it. Reese wants the three out of the corner. Huge shot from Donald Reese. Timeout, 53 seconds to go. The lead is 3.
Remember how we used to tell people you don't need a glass?
The vital signs, Georgia Tech up 3 with the ball. Here, George Lynch is going to take a three-point shot. Carolina on their last possession needing a 3. And then the long miss leads to the long rebound. Nice save by Reese. Now pause it right there. There you see Brian Reese is right there. He's going to get a pass from Montross. Line up behind the three-point line. Little pump fake. Barry doesn't really challenge. And that's a huge three-pointer for Carolina as they were down 6, only down 3 now, and they'll have a chance to apply full-court pressure.
The last time a player scored 20 or more points in all 3 ACC tournament games was Wally Walker of Virginia in 1976, when Virginia came out of nowhere to win the ACC championship. Forrest is trying to help his club do the same thing. If Tech wins, only the 4th time ever a 6th seed would win. And Georgia Tech will get a timeout because they almost had a turnover on a 5-second count as North Carolina swarmed on defense on the out-of-bounds play.
I've said this before in situations like this. I know the college game likes to keep its different aspects away from the pro game, but I think late in the game, the last minute or two, when you get it, when you've got timeouts and you call it, I think you should have the choice like they do in the NBA to inbound the ball at half court. It would add some additional strategy. It would give some additional room to the offensive players. I just think it would be a good addition to the game. But obviously, Carolina loves being able to put this full court heat on.
The last time the Tar Heels lost was at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Since then, they have won 11 straight games. And they are playing without their starting point guard, Derek Phelps, who was injured late in yesterday's ball game. It has been point guard by committee today. Henrik Rodel doing most of the damage. There's Phelps.
Well, I wonder
Phelps
how
will be available for the NCAA tournament.
I wonder how his bottom feels. He's over there sitting down, and he did bruise his tailbone.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be back Thursday or Friday, whenever their first-round game would be. Maybe he's got some kind of pad over there.
I would think so. Yeah, you have the feeling that North Carolina, even should they lose this game, would get one of the #1 seeds.
Sure.
Tough inbounding the ball. They get it to Best. Now, will North Carolina foul right away?
I think they've got to give themselves a chance to come up with the turnover because they've turned Georgia Tech over quite a bit in this half.
And I don't think Reese meant to make that foul. Best will go to the line where he is 6 out of 7 today. Has 6 of his 12 points from the free throw line. If he hits 1, he would make it a 2-possession game for North Carolina. We mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast that Georgia Tech had committed 18 turnovers in each of the games against North Carolina. They have had only 14 turnovers today. If you assume that you score 4 points off of the 4 turnovers, North Carolina's ahead.
Yeah, you talk about those turnovers, and again, we mentioned this in the first half, how instrumental that guy there is, Derek Phelps, in creating those turnovers. He puts such tremendous pressure on the basketball that it makes it hard for you to get into your offense, and then it allows the other guys to really pressure their men and come up with deflections that often lead to turnovers.
In the last 3 minutes, Georgia Tech is 8 out of 8 from the free throw line. North Carolina, however, has missed its last 5 shots from the stripe. Three-pointer by Reese. That's the second huge one in a row he's hit. It cuts the lead to 2. And I'll tell you what, the people who have seen North Carolina come from behind over the years, they never give up.
Are you ready?
Watch Dean Smith's reaction after Reese hits this one.
See, Georgia Tech far too soft here defensively. You know they're going to look for the 3. And Dean Smith, immediate, I mean, that was...
Well, he didn't win 876 games by not knowing what to do at the right time.
That's the right now timeout.
just some of the things that Dean Smith has been able to do. This is the 23rd straight 20-win season he's had. 12 of those, he won 25 games. This is the reset. One timeout left for each team. Georgia Tech, if they commit a foul, it would only be a 1-and-1 situation. If they go to the line, Tech would shoot 2, and they have the possession arrow, which may be critical in the last 38.8 seconds.
Well, you've got to get it in bounds first for Georgia Tech, and then you've got to be strong with the orange. You can actually use all of the clock. Obviously, Carolina won't allow that to happen. They'll look to foul Malcolm Mackey if he touches it.
I said 875 wins. That's 8 off or up. That's where Dean will be in less than 4 years, you would have to assume.
Obviously, you've got to try to get it in the hands of Travis Best, a good free throw shooter and your best ball handler.
And they've gotten it to him. Georgia Tech, if they're not fouled, could run out the clock. They do not have to shoot to win, but they have to hold on to the ball. The foul is on Lynch, and he is gone. 5 on George Lynch. Lynch leaves his last ACC game of a brilliant North Carolina career. The #1 all-time steals leader, the #3 all-time rebounder, the #14 all-time scorer, and puts his name in the record books behind some great North Carolina players. Today, 9 rebounds, 8 points.
And his playing days are not over. Certainly they'll go on to the tournament, and then he will play at the next level.
Yes, sir.
He's a small forward, as I see him now. Needs to polish up the perimeter shot, and I'm sure he knows that. But you like the fact that he comes from a great system. He's a solid rebounder.
Great
He's got
fundamental
a good body.
skills. Forrest at the line. He is 4 of 4 on the year, 67%. Look at Georgia Tech's numbers on the day. But now it really counts. Brian Hill, one of the Georgia Tech seniors, knows how critical this is. Mackey, the other senior in the Georgia Tech lineup.
This will be Mackey's second ACC tournament championship because he was a freshman when they won it in '90.
Forrest hits the second one. He has 27. North Carolina needs a 3 to tie. And Reese has another crack at it. Barry with a rebound. Out to Martise Moore, and he is fouled. Lenny Wirtz makes the call. And I want to say at this point, I think this has been a sensationally officiated ball game. Lenny Wirtz, Dick Paparo, and Frank Scagliotta, a tip of the hat to 3 guys who have had this in total control.
5-star. 5-star on the 4-star system.
Martise Moore will go to the free throw line, one of the better free throw shooters on the year for Tech. He is 2 for 2 today, the 4-time ACC Rookie of the Week this year.
Shot it like he meant it.
Once again, North Carolina will need the ball twice, but there's only 16 seconds left. And Georgia Tech's last 10 points have come from the free throw line. They have been outstanding.
And Georgia Tech now needs to make Carolina use some time. Don't let them get a quick look at a shot.
And Drew Barry did just that, and they can't foul.
This is excellent defense here. They force time to elapse. Even if it goes in, it should be over.
Williams. 2.5 seconds to go. Williams will try it again. Good if it goes. It goes, but Georgia Tech has won the ACC championship. Bobby Crimmins wins the title for the 3rd time. 85, 90, and 93. One of the great games in ACC history. Georgia Tech goes to 19-10. The Tar Heels to 28-4, breaks their 11-game win streak. For our entire ESPN crew, this is Mike Patrick. Thanks for watching, everybody.